One of the common mistakes we see that people come in with is somebody's already moved out of the house. And certainly there are times that can make a lot of sense from an emotional standpoint. The parties aren't getting along, you're fighting with your spouse, and you decide, we need a cooling off period, and you move out. The problem with that is that in a litigated divorce, and we never know at the outset whether the case is going to be litigated or not, once you leave, if you establish a residence outside of the marital residence, there's a chance that a court won't allow you back into the house. And that can create a whole host of problems that can lead to a divorce ending up costing much more than it otherwise should and dragging out a lot longer than it should. So critical, we tell people, do not leave the house unless you're in physical danger, unless there's a real danger that something's going to happen to you. I tell people, if you're either afraid for your own safety or if you're concerned that you're going to be arrested, then, again, please talk to your lawyer first. Please consult with us before you leave is ideal, but understand that there can be real negative ramifications for you leaving. We're a big fan of resolving cases quickly. We think that there's clearly a real benefit to people financially and emotionally for moving past this time in their lives. But when people act hastily, mistakes get made. And we have found that often we're being brought in trying to clean up somebody else's mess. They've been represented by an attorney and they moved very quick to a settlement without having a full understanding of what the assets are. And we'll take a look and say, well, what about this? And, quickly we'll look at statements and say, well, you have this retirement account and you have this account. And I've had people come in and they had no idea. And they were so excited to get it done and to move on. Sometimes there's, they're already dating somebody and they're excited to move into a newer and hopefully healthier relationship. But you have to be careful. There's a lot at stake in a divorce. These are the decisions that you make at a divorce will have far-reaching, long-reaching ramifications. So while moving quickly is great, at the same time, you need to make sure that your T's are crossed and your I's are dotted, as we say. One of the examples that I like to share with people about the risk of moving too quickly, of not going through the process, going through discovery. We had a case, somebody came into us and they had signed an agreement. And after they signed the agreement, they realized that their spouse's ownership in a significant business was not addressed in the agreement. And because of the way the agreement was drafted, and because they knew about it, there was nothing that we could do. They had waived their rights to it. And that was not something that the person intended to do, and I'm sure their spouse or their former spouse was very excited that that was overlooked completely. But I have no doubt that happened because the client was so anxious to get it done that for whatever reason, either the client pushed their lawyer or the lawyer, just wanted to get the case over with, but they left on the table a really significant asset, and that was really unfortunate and something that couldn't be fixed later. It is critical that you understand what you're signing. These agreements are generally pretty long. It's not uncommon that the final agreement could be, at a minimum 25 pages, and I've seen agreements, that are well in excess of 50 pages. And a lot of it's legalese, and it's overwhelming if you're not an attorney to understand what you're signing. By the time you get to that point, there's a good chance you've been through 6 months, a year, or even longer of negotiations, perhaps of litigation. But you need to understand what's in there, and your attorney should be explaining it to you. And if you don't understand it, it's incumbent on you to stop the lawyer and ask questions. In my firm, we're really good at making sure that checking in with the clients, making sure that they know what they're signing, that they understand it, that they've had time to digest it. But if you don't, you need to ask, because what you're signing, that's a binding legal contract. And when you get divorced, that contract becomes part of a court order. So it's critical that you know what's in there and that you understand it. Unfortunately, a significant percent of the work that we do is what's known as post-judgment litigation. It's litigation that occurs after the parties have divorced, after they had hoped that everything was done. It's common for a number of reasons. There are some people that just can't stop fighting, and that's really unfortunate. In my firm, we counsel everybody to get themselves into therapy if they're not already from the outset. I explain to them that you may be the best baseball pitcher in the world, you still have a coach, and that coach can't throw the ball as well as you can throw the ball, but that coach can give you advice, can help the pitcher become a better pitcher. So too in a divorce, we don't learn how to divorce growing up. That's something that none of us anticipate, or very few of us anticipate when we get married, that we're going to end up in the situation. And so getting a coach, getting a therapist from the outset who can help you navigate those waters. We'll handle the legal side of it. I always say in my firm, we're a bunch of nice guys and gals with a lot of great insight, but our expertise is not emotional health. There are people that have studied that in school, and they can really help you navigate it. And the better equipped you are emotionally to handle it, the less likely you're going to end up fighting later. You'll learn to stop getting your buttons pressed and stop pressing your spouse's buttons. And that honestly is one of the biggest things that leads to future litigation. People just don't stop fighting. So when you can avoid that, it can make a world of difference. It'll keep you out of our office a second time. It'll save you a ton of money and a lot of aggravation. If you have any questions whatsoever about how to get a settlement in your divorce case, please don't hesitate to contact us. That's what we do. We're happy to help you.